Hi.
Guess what we're doing?
We're gonna go ride our bikes again for the third day in a row,
For why?
so that we can say that we did 100 miles in 3 days.
Do you want to talk about what we just did the past 2 days?
But for the last 2 days, we were in Northern Virginia and we rode our bikes 83.6 miles. I added it. And over 6,000 feet of elevation like crazy people.
It wasn't that bad.
It was
It wasn't
fun.
that bad. It wasn't that bad.
It was fun. I didn't say it wasn't fun. I just said we're crazy people.
Yeah.
You even said at one point, why do cyclists do this to themselves? And then we went to the downhill and you were like, this is why. It all makes sense. You
Well,
said
that's the
that.
thing. Cyclists are crazy people, and like Emily was saying, there's people that do that in a day. So it took us 2.
Yeah, I could not have done that in a day.
So the route we did was called Skymeadows Overnighter, I believe.
Yes, it is.
We found it on bikepacking.com. And
By we, he means Mike found it on bikepacking.com. I showed up.
yes.
Yep.
Found it on bikepacking.com. Tons of resources there. If you ever want to find a bikepacking route, you
Yep.
can go there and find it. We
Yeah.
did find something that was like challenging. It wasn't too easy or too hard.
Correct. I felt like I did a thing. My body feels like I did a thing.
So we started on Saturday.
We did. Today is Monday.
We left our homes at 7 o'clock in the morning and made it to Northern Virginia, Leesburg to be exact, around 11.
Yeah.
And we packed our bikes. We met Emily there. Emily lives in Pennsylvania. And
Yeah.
We met Emily from Pennsylvania. She came down. She only had an hour and a half drive. Like,
We had
whatever.
4 hours. It was fine.
It's fine. So we packed our bikes and we headed out. And the trail starts off extremely easily, only to be met by a giant hill.
Yeah, and not just like casually a giant hill. It was like a mile of a giant hill.
It was a good one.
It was a mile. It was a mile of a giant hill, which to some people would be like, oh, that's nothing. To other people, they'd be like, that's insane. And to me, I was like, what did I just get myself into?
Yeah.
Yes.
And then so that just kind of kept happening. I mean, not to that extent, but it was, you would go down a hill to go up a hill,
Correct.
basically, the entire rest of the day. And so if you look at this route on bikepacking.com, it's like set up to go clockwise in the loop. So it's a loop, goes clockwise. We decided to do counterclockwise because essentially what you do is you ride from Leesburg and you go to Skymeadows State Park and you camp for the night, and then you ride back a different way. One way is about 9 miles shorter than the other. So it's split into 37 miles and 46 miles. So we decided to do the shorter day first
That was smart.
to make it, hopefully, before sunset, which we
Did not do.
not do. Barely. We needed like an extra hour.
Honestly, 30 minutes.
Yeah. Yeah, we barely made it. We barely missed it or made it, whichever one you want to say.
Right.
So highlights from day one.
Mm-hmm.
It was a lot of fun. The chipmunk. There was chipmunks. There was deers. There was dogs. Basically, the whole time you're riding through like farm towns,
Right. Or like people's like back roads and front yards.
It's
and-
like you would ride on a street, like on a paved road for a little bit, and then get off the paved road, right back to a gravel road. Everything was like, for the most part, pretty well maintained. There wasn't like there was like washboarding and like stuff.
I do not love the
whatever,
washboarding.
but
It makes me feel like I'm gonna die. I don't love it. I'm like, oh my god, I'm gonna lose control of this bike and
You're
I'm gonna
fine.
die.
You're gonna live.
Yeah.
But so it was pretty well maintained though, for the most part.
It was.
It was well maintained. We didn't get lost. We missed a couple turns, but we would miss it because like someone would be further ahead or behind. I had the route map, so if the
you
girls
were
were ahead, I'd have to kind of be like, hey, we're supposed to turn back here, and they'd have to turn around and come back.
right.
But we didn't get like majorly lost. Like there wasn't any. The only major thing that happened was when I broke my chain.
You did break your chain on the first day.
I
yes.
was trying too hard. I was messing around. I had my camera. I was filming something.
It was real pretty. You were like the sun and the mountains and the rock wall. It was very pretty.
It was a very pretty time.
We were getting it too.
And I was in the wrong gear. This hill snuck up on me, and I was in the wrong gear and was trying to change it and snapped my chain. And it wasn't a great time.
You were displeased. You were displeased.
I was displeased. I was displeased.
You
But
weren't mad. You weren't like sassy about it, but you just weren't happy about it.
yeah, it's not a good time to snap a chain.
I wouldn't know. I've never done it.
We did all that. I fixed the chain. Luckily, I have tools. We fixed the chain, and on we went. And that probably also contributed to the reason we were a little bit late getting to camp. But nonetheless, we did make it there.
We could still see.
Just at dark. Yeah.
It was like
We
blue hour.
didn't need flashlights to make it to the camp. But the campground was pretty cool. The sites are very spread out. We hung out at camp. There was also a fire ban, which was less than ideal because
Bummer. It's a bummer. I just wanted to be warm. I wanted my toes to be warm.
it was less than ideal just because, when it's going to be in like the mid 30s at night, you want it to be warm. But we were all warm. We ended up lending Misty extra things so that she was warm.
Because I'm a baby.
And it was fine. Everyone slept like babies that night.
Oh, I really did. Under the stars, because I shared Mike's tarp, and his tarp didn't go above my face. And so I got to see the stars through my hammock, and that was kind of magical. I'd wake up in the middle of the night and be like, stars, and then I'd fall right back asleep.
So the second day was pretty great. It was cold at the beginning.
But I didn't care.
It was cold pretty much all day. It was only a high of like 50. So it was like cold turned to chilly, but
then like
it was
sweaty.
Like, you're just like managing layers and whatever. But it was like kind of the same thing on the second day. It was very like,
I don't know, there was a lot more downhills I felt like on the second day in like a really fun way.
yeah.
In like a really fun way.
So if you do it that way, you might experience more downhill than uphill going counterclockwise. I can't say for what the other way was, but I would say it'd be a pretty similar experience whether you go clockwise or counterclockwise, just depending on whether you would rather do 46 miles on the first day or 37 miles on the first day. Either way, you're gonna have a real similar experience with everything. Yeah. And then, not a whole lot of drama on the second day.
No.
And
River
then-
crossing.
I mean, it was like a big stream.
Hear me out. It was up to like halfway up my calf.
So the second day was whatever, right? Like the second day was just kind of like riding our bike a lot. We would stop every 10 miles for Misty to stretch. We stopped at the prettiest places we could find roughly every 10 miles. So we stopped at vineyards and fun little overlooks with fun grasses and things and
deer. So many
lots of
deer.
So many deer.
Cute little town. Middleburg was cute.
Middleburg, yeah.
Middleburg was cute. If we had had more time, I would have been like, we should have had lunch at Middleburg. Seriously, if there had been.
We also did not have time on the way home either because of the extra 10 miles that we did. Even leaving, what time did we leave? We left
9:15.
We left around 9:15 on the second day, and we didn't make it back to the car until about 4. So if
Exactly 4.
So if that has any indication of how slow we were going, we maintained a 9 mile per hour average, which I think I had.
You wanted 10.
Dedicated about 10 when I was doing the math, but I'm horrible at math, so it was a nice even number to dictate.
But also, I don't think I could have anticipated in the
like
hills.
Whatever.
Like we're going 3 miles an hour up the hills. Like
Yeah.
even when you make them up in the downhills,
Right.
the hills just take longer.
Right.
Yeah.
With an extra 40 pounds of gear on your bike.
All of mine in the back. That was stupid.
And then, so we finished it we were extremely hungry at the end.
Yeah.
And luckily, there's a fantastic little Greek place.
Souvlaka bar.
Right there. And so we ate so much Greek food.
Oh my gosh, the tzatziki, the Greek fries.
It was all good. And then we had to drive home 4 hours.
And not fall asleep.
And get in a car accident. And we did.
Yeah, we survived. And we're going to do the last 16 and a half miles so we can say we did 100 miles in 3 days.
Because that makes sense.
Right. We like round numbers. Mike likes 10 miles an hour. I like 100 miles in 3 days. So do you.
Yeah.
Just makes sense. And Emily said she's going to do the same thing. Correct. And if she does it, she'll do it way faster than us because she didn't do it on the sand.
Yeah.
She'll win
Emily's
every
kinda-
time.
Emily
Every
like a
time.
superstar. We had issues. I broke a chain. So we're gonna go ride this 100 miles on the beach, and then
Take a nappy nap.
great.
Okay.
Goodbye.
Goodbye.